The exhortation this morning is to be the right character in the right story on the last day of vacation. So maybe some of us are not taking vacation this summer, or you have vacation planned for later, or some of us go on vacation all year round. But since it's fresh in my mind, having just returned from vacation, you know that you get a little bit of a depressing feeling the last day of vacation. It's not the only day throughout the year that you get a depressing feeling. I think I had an exhortation like this on December 26th or thereafter this year, how we should know that Christ was born into the earth on December 26th, just like we did on December 25th, that the incarnation still happened, and we shouldn't be all sulky and depressing about it. We get depressed on rainy days, and actually my last day of vacation was a rainy day, so double depressed, right? And Mondays are quite depressing. These are depressing times. And then of course the end of summer is coming up, and we can have a tendency at the end of summer to also have a letdown. Now, I don't want to say don't do vacation. We should definitely do vacation and do it big and get our respite from our everyday work, and probably do so in the spirit of the Sabbath would be the biblical grounds for vacationing and just getting a break from that work, that we have a 7-day cycle where we rest every 7th day. Wouldn't be a bad pattern to vacation according to that pattern. But I want to ask you, what character are you on the last day of vacation? Are you the person who is just does not want to go back to work? That's what you don't want to do. That's what you're really dreading, and everybody around you can see it, that you really don't like to work. Maybe you're the type who is can be on a bad day, somewhat of what the Bible calls a sluggard or a slothful person. I think we need to guard against that. I can't think of a single verse in the whole Bible that warns us about working too hard. That verse is not out there, but there's lots of verses about not being a sluggard. We know that the soul of the diligent is richly supplied, that we should run the race to win and finish the race, that the hand of the diligent will rule, while the slothful will be put to false labor. And we should always look carefully how we walk, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. We only have so many days, we need to make the most of them. Or maybe you are a hard worker, but that's kind of what you're dreading, is that you're going to go back and work really hard. So you're just a grumbler, what the Bible calls a grumbler. And the word that the Bible uses for that word grumbler is gungismu. If anybody remembers that, it's the best Greek word in the Bible, gungismu. If you're a grumbler like those in the wilderness who God got angry at because they were grumbling, we need to heed the biblical warning that those people received. We should not be slothful in our zeal, but be fervent in our spirit, serving the Lord. And we should do all things without grumbling or disputing, because those who grumbled in the wilderness were destroyed by the destroyer. That's how Satan sets you up, is to dread the life and the seasons that God gives you. So be joyful always and rejoice always. What story are you in? That is the thing that you're communicating to the people around you on the last day of vacation. Remember that in everything that you do, you're always communicating a message about the story you're in. So communicate the true message about the true story. Imagine reading a book and the whole book is just about somebody being on vacation. Wouldn't that be a really boring book and a really boring story? Well, it'd be like the Lord of the Rings, but it's just hobbits blowing smoke rings. That's it. Now, there's a great place for hobbits blowing smoke rings. It's a wonderful thing that they can do that in their time of rest. But a story like that would just be like if you were playing a basketball game, and it's just the halftime. So nobody remembers what happened in the halftime of your basketball game. Everybody remembers what happened in the game. So you're going back into the game on the last day of vacation. So I want to exhort us to live the day-to-day life as though we are living in the springtime of all of creation, of history. We are in the springtime of history. Jesus has risen from the dead, and we are blessed in that we get to be the ones that carry out his mission here on earth. He left us with the Great Commission to disciple the nations, and he's given us works that he prepared beforehand that we should walk in them, and that's what we need to do and do so joyfully. And we have the hope that if we hope in him, he'll renew our strength, mount us up like with wings like eagles, that will run and not get tired, will walk and not get weary. So we need to go out, be joyful always, work into your day-to-day life, spontaneous blessings. So not just the once a year vacation, but the spontaneous blessings, maybe going to get ice cream, maybe pulling an all-nighter with your kids randomly. Not that that's a blessing to the parents, but the kids really love it. Things like that, taking your wife out to eat, or something like that she's not expecting. That's how God is. He gives us unexpected blessings, and we ought to mimic that behavior. And then we have the 7-day cycle of every seventh day, today, the Sabbath day, we rest, and we should do Sabbath dinners that we really big. Do them really big the night before the Sabbath, like we started doing and probably need to get back to doing. And let the rest of the world grumble like it's the last day of vacation. Let them be the ones who grumble on the last day of vacation. You be a good character in the story, in the best story ever told, and on the last day of vacation, proclaim on to our next adventure. And like those who rebuilt the wall in Nehemiah, rise up and say, let us rise up and build. Go out into the world, because halftime is over. Now it's time to make memories in the game. So let's repent now of any failure that we might have had to act like a good character in the true story on the last day of vacation. Kneel with me if you're able.